Okay, so our next speaker is Jonah Zankl. He is studying both applied math and economics. So he's doing a double major in the University of Calgary, and he is a 2013 SLXAB leader. So please welcome Jonah to the stage.
I'm hoping that maybe this will stop. Maybe. That's okay. So like Shongi said, my name's Jonah, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about data today. So first question, who thinks they know what big data is? Nobody? Has anybody heard of big data? Yes? I hope so. We've all heard about big data. Big data is going to change everything, but I'm going to tell you it's really not that complicated. Sorry to put that towards you, Chelsea. I know it's really machine learning and big data is all about computer science. So data at its source comes from everywhere. Everywhere has data, everything has data, and it drives every single thing and everything that we're all doing. But in reality, it's really simple. The idea of data and data science comes down to how do we collect, interpret, store, and take data into something meaningful? How can I drive an experience with what I know about something, someone, or how something is working? If we take that to the next level, that's called machine learning. And what that is take the data that we've consumed, we've collected, we've stored, we've interpreted, and feed it back through, and interpret it again, and develop insights through machines and learning about our data. When you think about it, big data and machine learning is really what we do in our heads every day. We have a set of data that we know and store in our brains, we interpret it, and then the next day we use that data to interpret something else and grow smarter and smarter every day. Machine learning is really just like a brain. Probably the first instance of machine learning or big data that we think about is Watson. So I know we're all too old to have watched, or sorry, too young to have watched Jeopardy, but Jeopardy was kind of thrown for a loop when IBM developed Watson. And Watson could beat a contestant on Jeopardy, which is pretty crazy to think that a computer can interpret a question in the form of what is, and figure out what should be the right answer based not only on what it knew, but what it learned from its previous experiences on its first episodes of Jeopardy, and got smarter and smarter and smarter. But Watson is more than that. And I'm not going to say that it's the best solution or the only solution for that matter, but it's just something where originally it was developed for a game, to beat the game chess. Now it can play Jeopardy, and now it can actually watch, for example, last weekend they used it at the US Open, watched hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours of tennis footage, and could develop highlight reels automatically. Pretty cool. This is a picture of a monkey I took in Japan. And what's kind of cool about this is not the fact that it's a monkey. I know it's a monkey. I didn't know it's a macaw, however. Kind of cool. And what's really neat is right up there you can see 3 lines of computer code. It's called an API. That API, I uploaded this picture of a monkey through it, and it told me, hey, it's a monkey. That's pretty cool. So what's really interesting about this is this has changed the way that data works in the world and the way that we can consume data regardless what industry we're in. So for example, told me it has a score of about 82% of matching a fauna. It's an animal. Cool, I knew that, but now it can help me. Well, what if we take it to the next level? How would big data change the way that we interact with people, how computers interact with people, and how we start to make recommendations about everything from the call center agent who can't figure out why you're frustrated? Maybe you can listen to my conversation and start to realize, what did I say that isn't working for the customer? Or how would it make it easier to know that, hey, I just bought a really cool shirt. Maybe I need a cool jacket to go with it. I know what that jacket looks like, and I know it matches perfectly. Or get even a little bit more creepy. Again, we've got this same 3 lines of code up at the top called an API through Watson. And I uploaded my Twitter feed. It told me a little bit about me. You can tell me I'm adventurous. I'm in the 89th percentile of adventurous. Cool. I'm conscientious. That's pretty cool. But what it did is it spit out a little bit about me. It told me that I like to volunteer for social causes, and it knew that just from reading my Twitter feed. That's amazing. But it also told me things like, I won't be influenced by my family when I'm purchasing things. How would that look when I'm a senior in a care home and I'm trying to get the right level of care? But I personally will not take feedback from family members. How would this influence the kind of advice that I would have to give to a patient? Or how would I change that experience when I'm answering those kind of questions? So I'm going to take this a little bit into the context of what I do every day. I work for A2B Financial here in Alberta, in different areas around payments and banking and experience that help people understand their money. So for the last year, I managed a product called Track It. And what it really tried to solve was this question right here. 8 in 10 people in Canada cannot make decisions about their finances or don't feel confident in doing it. And why is that? Because we present data in a way that doesn't make sense. This is what we're all familiar with. There's boxes and spreadsheets and line items and rows of information. But that doesn't work in the way that we think and the way that we feel. So how do we take information like this and make it meaningful? Well, the first piece is people can't understand their money because nowhere really lets you see it all at once. You have a credit card over here, you have a student loan over there, you have bank accounts over here, and how do they all talk? They don't make sense. So we put it together. Whether I have an investment, a Visa, or a bank account with ATB, I can put it all into one place and see my money where it matters. Right there, one place, one simple experience. We start to think in terms of colors and pictorial representations of what our money is. The most important thing to me, the biggest circle, is food and dining. I like to eat out, I'm a student. So this really matters to me. These bubbles help to make sure that I stay on track because I need to know where I am with my finances all the time. What's interesting is this starts to adapt. Every month, it feeds data in, sees millions of transactions, and spits out something that's a little bit different every time. Machine learning and big data in a certain context, which is pretty cool. And it's really about how do you take data and present it to a way that's meaningful for a customer. Banks know more about people than I think we wish to imagine. So how do we take all that information and do good with it rather than just sell you another Visa? So what I want to leave you with is 3 things. Data touches every field and every industry. I think it's really important that everybody knows what an API is, what it does, what it looks like, and how you might use it. You don't have to know how to code it in, but you need to know what it is. It's no longer sufficient to think that people will give you data that will represent your decision anymore. Everybody needs to be data literate and have some understanding of how they're going to get the data that they need to be better scientists and better leaders, regardless what field they're in. And finally, data literacy will empower and change the way that we do our work, the way that we serve people, and the way that our communities grow. So thank you.
That make it worse?
You can never.
Challenge you to say, and ask
Oh,
yourself,
hey.
would you do it if you weren't getting paid?
It works.
Would you do it for free? And why? Because by asking yourself that question and removing immediate gratification
Okay,
from
as you may have
the whole
noticed,
picture, it forces
we're
you to understand and
piggybacking
identify whether or
off
not
the
it fits with your self-development
SLXAB.
process. If it does, then that means you're in line into becoming the person that you want to become in order to get what you want out of life. I think back to a lot of times when I was away during my work